This is Dr. Steve and Teresa Hewlett from the podcast Nutrition Prescription, Wellness versus Medication. Since we started working with Adam, he has helped us in so many ways, from showing us how to launch a podcast from scratch to teach us how to actually make a living doing what we love, educating others.
What we appreciate most is that Adam really listens. He doesn't just answer questions, he takes the time to understand us. He knows we do our best when we can focus on one thing at a time, so he's great at helping us figure out exactly what our next steps should be.
But the best part about working with Adam is how much he genuinely cares about our success. He's invested in our podcast, always encouraging us and guiding us to the next level.
What's up, pod pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. It's the show where I teach podcasters simple strategies to help you grow your audience and turn your podcast content into new clients. Pod pals, how are you doing? I got to warn you, straight off the bat, I am 2 days into a 5-day fast. So in case you feel like, man, this episode is weird, that's probably why. All right. So I think it's going to be good though. So we're talking about why you aren't getting new clients from your podcast. If this is a problem that you are really struggling with, this is the last warning that next week we're starting my podcast content to clients workshop, April 21 through the 24th. The link is in the show notes. So if what we talk about today kind of makes sense, you want to work on these 6 things, we're going to dive into solving all of them next week. All right. So grab that link in the show notes or go to the main website, podcastingbusiness.school. Let's dive in. All right. The first one, you do not have any identifying term in the name of your show. The name of your show is not directly speaking to your ideal fit clients. If your ideal fit client is an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a personal trainer, some sort of chiropractor, a doctor, like you have to use words that they use to describe themselves in the name of your show. If you've listened to more than 5 episodes of this podcast, you hear me talk about my perfect podcast naming formula. A lot of people focus on that first word keyword part, which is really important. But the second part of that formula is we want a second keyword in the name of your show that also doubles as an identifying term for your ideal fit listener / client. All right. So if you do social media marketing and you specialize in helping chiropractors, how about social media marketing tips for chiropractors? That follows my formula. It's got 2 keywords. It says what it's about. It says who it's for. So don't forget that who it's for keyword in the name of your show. If you don't have it in there, it's hurting you. It's not allowing your ideal fit clients to easily find your show and realize, oh, I'm a chiropractor. I hate social media. Maybe I should listen to the show about social media marketing tips for chiropractors. Bam. All right. Number 2. You're doing too many interviews. You're not the expert on your own show. If you're not the expert on your own show, people will not buy your stuff. They won't even consider it. I have so many people that end up hiring me because they're freaking out because this is what usually happens. They're 37 episodes in. They've been doing all interviews and they notice that people are messaging them or emailing the host asking about their guest programs, products, and services. So they see that people are buying, but they're not buying the host stuff. They're buying the guest stuff. And like, but I have things to sell too. Why aren't they buying? I'm like, why would they? You aren't the expert on your own show. You are the person that interviews experts on your show. So the way we solve this is my 2/3 content rule. You must apply this. Again, something I preach about on the show all the time. 2/3 of your content needs to position you as the expert. These are solo episodes and these are coaching episodes. You want an example of a solo episode? You're listening to one right now. And a lot of people fear the solo episode, and I really don't know why. Like, you don't have to talk for as long as you would on an interview. It's kind of like a TED Talk or something like that. This is a 17-minute episode or 10-minute, 5-minute, whatever it takes, say what needs to be said, teach what needs to be taught, give them an actionable strategy or an action step they can apply, and you're good. All right. So I'm dropping 6 little reminders and tips here today. You can do the exact same thing for your niche, for your show. All right. 2/3 of your content needs to position you as the expert. So that's mistake number 2. That's keeping you from getting clients from your podcast. You're not the expert on your own show because you're doing way too many interviews. Next mistake. You get way too many calls to action, y'all. The CTA vomiting happens. And again, I've talked about this quite a bit recently. I had an episode a few episodes back where I talked about this. But you got to follow my single CTA rule, and you have to consider your intro and outro, especially if it's a pre-recorded. A lot of you have a pre-recorded intro, especially that's like the song and then the little jingle with the show, welcome to the blah, blah, blah podcast. And then you'll rattle off, make sure you follow me on this platform, that platform, that platform. Make sure you get my lead magnet. Make sure you go to my website. That's like 5 CTAs just in your pre-recorded intro. So I'm talking about throughout the whole thing. We shoot for 1. Every once in a while, I'll break this rule, and that's okay. We can break the rule every once in a while, but the standard needs to be a single call to action, my single CTA rule. Now, a little bonus tip to this mistake of having way too many calls to action. I've got another rule when it comes to CTAs. It's my brand new, newly named $500 CTA rule. And this is for my brand and for you all as my potential customers and obviously my listeners. I have personally found that it is much harder to directly sell something from the show that costs more than $500. So I tend to not have those things. I have lots of things that cost over $500. All my consulting, over $500 for sure. But I don't directly sell that from the show. I'm not like, go sign up for my 8-week consulting one-on-one program that costs $3,000. I don't do that because a lot of you need to have a discovery call chat first to decide if that's the right thing for you to do. And I kind of like that too. If I'm going to invest 8 weeks and ask somebody to pay me several $1,000s, I kind of want to talk to you first and make sure it is a good fit. I think if you've been in online business for long enough, every once in a while you get that not a great fit situation and it's brutal on both sides. So we want to avoid that. So if it's over $500, I promote discovery calls instead of a direct CTA on the show. If it's under $500, like my workshop coming up, $47. It's $47. You get 4 days with me. I'm going to teach you how to convert your podcast listeners into clients. And it's $47. So I've been promoting that on the show for several weeks now, and I'll shut up about it after this episode. So there you go. So that's the third thing. Too many CTAs, too many calls to action. If you tell your people to do 17 things, they will do 0 things. Keep that in mind. Mistake number 4. Now, the first 3 were kind of process and strategy things. These last 3 are more about like experience based, like you're probably just lacking some experience. So mistake number 4 is you are inconsistent with your content release cadence. I see a lot of newer podcasters that struggle with this because you're kind of just figuring things out. All right. If you're inconsistent, if you show up inconsistently, it's really hard for your ideal fit people to become like your super fans and to become obsessed with what you got cooking with your show. I'm a big fan of a weekly cadence. Big fan. Just because that weekly cadence, that weekly episode drop allows, especially with an audio podcast, it becomes a superpower because you are all probably doing something in addition to listening to me right now. All right. Most of you are not sitting in a completely dark room, just focusing on the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. And if you are, that's kind of weird. I'll say it. I'll call you out. If you're sitting in a dark room, just focusing on my words, it's kind of weird. You should be doing, treadmill time or deadlifts or taking your kid to school or whatever. So if we are inconsistent, it's hard for our listeners to insert our content into a daily rhythm, which is where we really want to be. I want to become a part of your life routine where you're like, oh, it's Tuesday. A new episode of Podcasting Business School is out. I will listen to this after I drop my kids off for school, and then I drive to work. I listen to Adam. I want to be in that rhythm. And if you aren't sure what day or if a weekly episode is going to be coming out and there's no consistency there, it's hard to do that. It's impossible to do that. All right. Most podcast listeners listen to at least 3 shows. It's like 3 to 5 shows is the sweet spot every single week. If you want to get in that 3 to 5 rhythm, you got to put out consistent content. And again, I know some of you are just getting started. Some of you are very, very part-time. You got family stuff, you got work stuff, you got life in general stuff. At least be consistent with, if you're doing once a month, do once a month and let the people know first Tuesday of the month, this sucker's coming out. And then go, hey, guess what? We're making some improvements every other week. First Tuesday and the third Tuesday of the month. It's going to be there for you. Just be consistent and build up to that weekly cadence. Now, do you need to do more than one a week? Right now, I'm not. I've done as many as 3 episodes per week on this show. And I just feel like there's a lot of content out there. I'm focused on less but better right now. So 1 per week is the sweet spot for me. Especially some of you all are trying to put out 3 episodes in a week and you're just random about it. Like if you can't do 1 a week every week, don't shoot for 3 or 5 or whatever. All right. So just keep that in mind. That is mistake number 4. Mistake number 5, you're getting less than 100 downloads per episode. So this is an audience size thing. If you don't have a big enough audience, you aren't going to make sales. You just need a bigger pool of people to operate from. Now, I've noticed that when we get our clients, my clients and people in my group coaching program, like I'm in their numbers. We are looking at the, behind the curtain and going, okay, let's look at your March numbers this year compared to last year. Let's look at the growth percentage and let's see what's really happening. Let's look at the trends here. What makes sense? And for the clients that are over 100 downloads per episode, it's, those are the people that are seeing more sales consistently. Now, a real sweet spot tends to be that 250 to 750 per episode, 500 to 750 per episode. That's, especially if you have mid to high ticket clients, we start seeing people that are going, okay, I'm doing, $8,000 a month, $10,000 a month. Like that's where that sweet spot tends to start kind of poking up, myself included. Once I crossed into that around 700 downloads per episode, I was like, wow, this seems to be enough people that I have exposure to that are experiencing all my expert positioning and all the things that I do to help facilitate sales with my content. I just have a better chance. I've got a fighting chance in getting clients every single month and keeping the clients that I've got and building all that expert positioning up. So if you're less than 100 downloads per episode, we got to work on some of these growth strategies that I'm talking about quite a bit, right? That's going to be really important. And let's talk about mistake number 6. The last one, it's just, again, experience. You have less than 50 episodes. I have had clients that get clients right away. It's like, okay, we launched the show and I'm getting clients. I've had a couple that have gotten clients within their first 4 launch episodes. My record was I had one client that launched a show that she got her first new client within like 6 hours of the first episode going live. That's the record. That is not the norm at all, but it's possible. But a lot of people, they have to learn how to be podcasters. If you are starting from 0 content creation experience, which a lot of you are, I was in 2015. I didn't know what I was doing. I signed up for Instagram after I launched my podcast. All right. I had no idea what I was doing. If you have 0 social media followers, 0 email list, it's going to take some reps. It's not just going to magically happen. All right. Because you have to build a certain skill set as a content creator. I'm like 1,400 something episodes in my content creation career. and I'm in a totally different place than I was in confidence level than I was at episode 14. All right. It's just a different deal. So you have to get reps in. And this is why I hate seeing people quit at episode 4 or 18 or 30 something. With my first show, I seriously thought about quitting at episode 37. Like, I had that moment where I was like, I don't think I'm going to put out an episode this week. And then I put out an episode that week about thinking about quitting, and my audience really responded. Interesting, right? So I kept going, and that got me through. But if you have less than 50 episodes, I think you're just getting started. To be honest, I think you got to get 100 episodes under your belt to figure out what it means for you to be a content creator in this podcasting space. I tell all my clients that I help with launch, I'm like, you have to do 52 episodes. That's one episode a week before you even consider quitting, because you haven't even started yet. So if that's been, rolling around in your mind a little bit, I know a lot of you get down on yourself and you are like, 20 episodes into this thing. It's taken a lot more work than I thought it was going to. I'm not making any money yet. You just see all the output, all the effort, the investment of time and money, and it's beating you down a little bit. All right. I'm here to tell you that this is just a longer path. The podcasters that are most likely to succeed are the ones that are willing to keep publishing through the silent weeks and months. For me, it was 3 years. All right. Like, consistency and show up ability is my superpower. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to realize I should have quit with sometime in the first 3 years. But for whatever reason, I didn't. I really wasn't growing. I made $37 total in my first 3 years. But by the end of year 5, I had replaced my income, sold my fitness facility, and went full-time as a podcaster. All right. So a lot of you are quitting when you're 3 steps up a 5-step staircase. Like, you just got to take a few more steps. And I posted something of that sort on Threads a couple weeks ago, and I had somebody really rip into me. And like, it's not just about not quitting. There's so many other things. I'm like, no kidding. But guess what? If you quit, none of the other things get a chance to work. I was like, listen to one of my 600 plus episodes when I talk about all the other things. Ian. I don't think Ian listens to my show. But it's something like, if you quit too early, who knows what could have happened? That why has to be bigger than the combined force of all the why nots. And that's true for podcasting, weight loss, financial goals, business goals, relationship goals. That's the rule. So keep that in mind. So those are 6 things. Those are 6 reasons that I'm seeing out there with experience with myself, with my clients, with my audience, as to why you're not able to turn your content into clients. If these are struggle points, get in my workshop. It's $47. Invest in yourself, invest in your show, invest in just plugging into my knowledge over the last 11 years. Let me help you hit that fast forward button a little bit. And we're going to spend 4 days together. I've got a private podcast feed ready to rip, ready to go. Each day, actually the day before, you're going to get the podcast. You can get some homework. I've got a workbook. And then each day of the workshop, I've got live help sessions to help you implement all the strategies you're learning through the private podcast feed and the workbook and the homework and all that. I'm really excited about this. We're going to help. I think this is going to save a lot of you, because I can't tell you how awesome it is just to get a client from your show. It will get you through, because it proves that it is possible. That's a big deal. A lot of you just don't believe because that first sale hasn't clicked through yet. When you have somebody pay you real life money for your knowledge, for your expertise, for your services, for your programs, for your course, whatever it is that you sell, it flips a switch. And all of a sudden, the impossible just became possible. I just made money online as a content entrepreneur. I don't care if it's a $7 thing or a $7,000 thing. It flips a freaking switch because now we believe. I want to help you all start flipping that switch so that you can believe that it is possible to make money. If you can make $7, you can make $700. If you can make $700, you can make $7,000. All right. You just have to get some of these mistakes taken care of and get a set system in place and get a little bit of support behind that. And that's what I'm going to be there for over this 4-day workshop. I'd love to have you there. Link is in the show notes and on the website, podcastingbusiness.school. I'm not going to remind you anymore on the podcast. Next week, I'll talk about something different. But I appreciate you guys. I'm really excited. There's nothing I love more than getting hands-on and getting in there and getting to work with you all. So I'm excited for next week. With that, Pod Pals, I appreciate you. I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. I will see you on the next episode.